The purpose of this video is to illustrate how I approach shooting, culling, and editing an architectural project. The project that we're going to be using for this video is a little bit different than typical architectural projects. It actually was the restoration and improvement project of a hockey arena in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Prior to the photo shoot, we received information from the client that gave us details surrounding the project in terms of the address, contact information for the client, company contacts, and basically a menu or shot list of what they were interested in having photographed on the interior and the exterior. We were also given a couple of drawings that were kind of just laid out the basic project site with a few notations here and there about what they'd like to have photographed, vantage points, things like that. We were also given a folder of pre-shots. So these were just shots that they had taken during the course of construction, or actually mostly towards the end of construction. Shots like this that just showed basic areas. As you can see, they're still, they're pretty much done, but still a lot of cleanup and finishing work to be done. They also gave us a few renderings from the architect that indicated, what the project looked like. Here it is, essentially a very classic hockey arena, and classic in the sense that instead of having a flat roof like many hockey arenas have everywhere, this retro project, the building originally built in probably, I'm guessing, maybe the 50s or the 60s, had a large truss roof, almost like a large, basically an overly large Quonset hut. And rather than replacing the roof with just a regular, again, an ordinary typical flat top roof, they actually recreated the entire roof structure of the original building using a custom-made wood truss system, along with other updates of the entire building. So, a pretty interesting project. Just kind of flipping through here, you can see some of the areas that we were asked to look at. And so, in any case, that's the genesis of this project. And now we'll dive into the actual culling and editing of the photos. Step for me in editing a project after it's been photographed is to import it into Lightroom. That gives me a chance to look at everything, make some initial edits, and cull all of the good images, eliminating the busted ones. So this is the entire project right here. I'm not really showing you anything, just kind of flipping through here. But what I do initially is I go through and get all the images separated out into by type. There's architecture, there are some hockey game pictures, there's some candids, and I also delete, or I should say, pass by the ones that where there might have been a problem. So, for example, if you look at this one right here, this is my indication of a busted shot, which means not that shot, of course, that truly is busted, but the one before it had some kind of an issue, and so I decided to repeat the shot. And actually, here's what happened with that image. So when I took this image, it looked after I took it, it looked a little hot. So I busted it, and I went to just a slightly different exposure, and that was the true first image in this particular set. So in any case, after going through that whole culling process and labeling and numbering all of the images, they're brought into their own collection, and this is all of them right here. This is the these are all what I would call selects. These are not the final images, but these are the base images from which we are going to create final images. And so in any case, we'll take a look at this in detail, so stay tuned. The photo edit begins with the first image, which happens to be a vertical panorama. This consists of a set of 4 images, an upper middle, a lower middle, and a lower image. Each set of images also consists of images that are focused to the back, followed by next image focused to the front. We're going to focus stack these images to increase the clarity and focus of each image in the set to create the panorama. But before we do, we're going to take a look at some other settings. The first thing we're going to do is change the color profile. The default is Adobe Color, but I've recently found a third party called Color Fidelity that appears to do a better job for me. I'm just kind of looking through the different options here, and it looks to me like the landscape setting is probably the best one. So I'm going to set this image for the landscape in landscape. So the color profile is now set to that. And then I'm going to copy all of the images over so that they all have the same color profile. In addition to that, I'm going to look at some other settings. I've noticed in the most recent versions of Lightroom that the auto setting has actually become very powerful. So without doing anything else, for the moment, I'm going to click on auto and see what it gives me. Okay, it looks a little bit hot, a little bit cooked, but I think we can modify that and make it look a little bit better by looking at some of the other settings. So I think I'm going to bring the shadows down a little bit. It looks just a little bright to me. I like the luminance in the stands and the bleachers, so I want to keep that, but I think we'll just kind of take that down a little bit. Going to play with that a little bit and maybe about right there. Tune to taste. Exposure looks pretty good. I think everything else looks about the way I want it to look. The histogram shows good luminance. Let's just see if we... So what we'll do now is we're going to copy those settings over to all of the images in that set. So that's copied. And then, of course, the ones that prior to that image. And we'll copy that and save those settings. The reason why I chose that one in the middle is that kind of gives us an overall view of the entire arena as opposed to just the ceiling or the lower set. So we're going to take all those images now and we're going to export them out as full res JPEGs into a working folder. Okay, so the working folder consists of these 8 images, and we're going to bring those into a third-party application called Helicon Focus. We do that 2 images at a time. So we'll take the first 2 images, put them into Helicon Focus. There's the original, and we will just click on Render, and those 2 images are going to be put together, and we now have a sharpened, more in focus, greater depth of field image. So we're going to just save that. We'll just probably call it, just give it a simple working title. There we go, Yanmar 1:1. Okay, so all 4 images have been focus stacked, and so we're now going to create a vertical panorama. I'm going to do that in Photoshop, a setting called Photo Merge. So we're just going to go grab those images out of the working folder. So there they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll let the software do its thing. Okay, so here is our merged image. Looks great. We're going to have to do a little fixing around the edges, so we're going to recrop this. I also think it might look a little long, a little tall, so we're going to look at some different cropping options here. So we'll change that ratio to, let's try 4:5. There we go. That looks pretty good, actually. That looks really good. That's square. Not bad. Not bad. That actually might end up being the one that we want, but let's take a look here. Let's go back to the 4:5 or 5:4, I should say. And I think that's the one we're going to use. So it's now been cropped, and we'll proceed to do some little finishing touches. Take a look at it here. Looks pretty good. I don't think we're going to need a lot of tone enhancement or contrast enhancement. It looks really nice and clean. But with this many images shot at ISO 400, we might need to do some noise reduction. So we'll address that. Also, I noticed the scoreboard has some issues there. I don't think we want those numbers on there, so we're going to take those out too. Before we do any of that, we're going to go into On1 Effects, and we're going to add just a little bit of dynamic contrast. So dynamic contrast just kind of tweaks it up one more level. Part of my, I guess I would call it secret sauce. I use this on probably at least 50% of my architectural images. See, it just gives it a little bit of a snap. But to keep it nice and smooth, we're just gonna bring that back a little bit. We don't need the full energy of that particular tool. Okay, so we're getting there. Looks good. We're going to go back out into Photoshop, and just a couple final moves here we're going to make. We're going to apply a little bit of noise reduction to the image using an application called Define, which is part of the Nick collection. This is pretty much a one-click solution. It just kind of cleans it up a little bit more. And finally, after we do that, we're going to take care of a small set of details. Way in the back of the image is the scoreboard, and there happen to be just a couple of numbers that were illuminated on the scoreboard. And I thought, rather than filling in all the numbers on the scoreboard and making some kind of a fake score, that I would just delete all of the illuminated portions of the scoreboard. So I just applied some content aware, using the content aware tool, and deleted that information. And here's our final image. Hope you like it. We did make one other final little tweak. We discovered that there was a kind of a shiny bolt cover in the very foreground that was a little bit distracting, so we actually took that out too. So in any case, here are the final images. There were 56 total. There's our first one up there that we edited. There were several different panoramas. I mentioned the second one was a panorama. You see it there. That's the final image. There was also another one here that was a square image, and we used the drone inside the arena, which made for some pretty dramatic images of the truss system that you can't really see from your own two eyes. We also got lucky and got a couple of really nice shots of the exterior, and then we got a bunch of the kids together and shot a group portrait of some of the kids who use the facility. Just kind of helps tie the whole thing together. And then as a bonus, there was a hockey game that night between Grand Rapids and Duluth East, and we stayed and shot the hockey game. It was really exciting to do, a lot of fun. Helped us illustrate the building being used, showing the facility, highlighting some of the other, like the kids in the band, the crowd in general, the excitement and tension of the hockey game itself. It ended up being really exciting. Grand Rapids came from behind in the third period. They were behind 3-0, and this is the go-ahead goal that was scored, I think, with about 40 seconds left to play. They added an insurance goal into the empty net and won the game 5-3. So it was a lot of fun, and we were able to present our client with a comprehensive portfolio of final images of the project. So that completes this video on the culling and editing of this project. Of course, there were many more pictures that we didn't address specifically. If you have questions about some of the other images and would like to get more information, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks for watching and listening.